the silent void. Commander Narakal stared out through the cracked viewport at the endless black expanse. Tiny pinpricks of distant stars offered no comfort to the last living being aboard Research Station Tellus. Her six-fingered hand pressed against the cold surface as she tried to ignore the flickering emergency lights reflecting off her pale green skin. 14 days. It had been 14 days since the attack. 14 days since the rest of her crew had either died in the initial assault or succumbed to their injuries in the aftermath. 14 days of sending desperate distress signals into the void. 14 days of silence. Nara's slender frame had grown even thinner, her once vibrant copper-flecked eyes now dull with exhaustion. She turned from the viewport and moved slowly through the corridor, conserving energy. The station's air recyclers wheezed and stuttered, struggling to maintain even the minimal life support she'd managed to rig in the central hub. Status report, she whispered to herself, maintaining the routine that kept her sane. Oxygen reserves at 26%. Water purification functioning at minimal capacity. Food supplies sufficient for 8 more days. Communication array operational, but receiving no response. The attack had come without warning. 3 unmarked vessels had appeared from hyperspace, targeting the station's propulsion systems and power core with surgical precision. Only Nara's quick thinking, sealing the central hub and rerouting emergency power, had prevented complete destruction, but the cost had been devastating. 23 of the finest scientific minds in the Ardelian conclave, gone in moments. As she entered the central hub, Nara glanced at the sealed container secured to her belt. Inside lay the crystalline data core containing their research findings. The real reason, she suspected, they had been targeted. The discovery that had made someone want them silenced permanently. Nara settled into the command chair, wincing as pain shot through her injured leg. The medical supplies had run out days ago. She would survive or not. The universe seemed indifferent either way. Message logged. Commander Nara Cole, Day 14. She spoke to the station's recorder. Still no response to distress signals. Life support failing systematically. I estimate, she paused, calculating, perhaps 3 days before critical systems fail completely. She closed her eyes briefly, fighting back the despair that threatened to overwhelm her. The Ardelian conclave, her own government, should have responded by now. Their silence spoke volumes. I maintain my suspicion that our attack was not random. Our discovery in the Varisian Nebula challenges fundamental principles the Conclave has maintained for centuries. If I do not survive, let it be recorded that. A sudden beeping from the console interrupted her. Nara stared in disbelief at the proximity alert. A vessel was approaching. For a moment, wild hope surged through her, but caution quickly tempered her excitement. The attackers could have returned to finish what they started. With trembling fingers, she activated the external sensors. The approaching ship bore no markings she recognized. Its design was unlike any in the Ardelian database, more compact than conclave vessels, with unusual engine configurations and what appeared to be improvised modifications to its hull. When the communication system crackled to life, Nara nearly fell from her chair in surprise. Research Station Tellus. This is Captain Alina Reyes of the Earth Alliance Vessel Horizon. We've detected your distress signal. Do you read us? Humans? Nara had never encountered them personally. The newest spacefaring species in this sector, they were still considered primitives by many of the established powers, including her own conclave, restricted to their territories by the Galactic Accords. Humans rarely ventured this far into open space. This is Commander Nara Cole of the Ardelian Science Vessel Tellus, she responded, her voice cracking from disuse. I read you, Captain Reyes. My situation is critical. Commander, our scans show significant damage to your station. How many survivors require evacuation? Nara closed her inner eyelids briefly, a gesture of sorrow in her culture. Just me, Captain. I am the sole survivor. A brief silence followed before the human responded, her voice gentler now. Understood, Commander. We're preparing to dock. Our medical team will be standing by. Hold on just a little longer. As the communication ended, Nara clutched the data core at her belt. These humans had no business being here. Their presence violated at least 3 sections of the Galactic Accords. Yet they had responded to a distress call that her own people had ignored. The docking process took 18 minutes. Nara counted each one, half expecting the humans to reconsider or for Ardelian military vessels to appear and drive them away. But when the airlock finally cycled open, she found herself facing a small team of humans wearing environmental suits. The leader removed her helmet, revealing dark skin and tightly braided hair. She was shorter than Nara by nearly a head, but her presence filled the space immediately. "Commander Cole, I'm Captain Alina Reyes." The human extended a hand in what Nara recognized from briefings as their greeting gesture. "Let's get you aboard the Horizon." Nara hesitated, then placed her six-fingered hand against the human's five-fingered one in an awkward approximation of their custom. "My research data. It must come with me, Captain." Reyes nodded without question. "Of course. Can you walk?" Nara took a step forward and nearly collapsed as her injured leg gave way. Two human crew members moved quickly to support her. "Medical team, priority 1. Reyes spoke into a communication device on her wrist as they helped Nara toward the airlock. She took one last look at the station that had been her home for 3 years. "I need to warn you, Captain," Nara said quietly. "My presence on your vessel may bring complications. I believe my government abandoned me deliberately." Alina's expression hardened slightly. "We respond to distress calls, Commander. That's non-negotiable. Whatever complications come, we'll handle them." The Horizon was cramped by Ardelian standards, but humming with an energy that spoke of meticulous maintenance. As they moved through the corridors, Nara noticed crew members watching with curiosity rather than the expected fear or revulsion. Many had likely never seen an Ardelian before. The ship's medical bay was small, but surprisingly well equipped. A human with gray streaks in his dark hair approached. "Dr. Sanjay Kumar." He introduced himself, already scanning Nara with a handheld device. "You're severely dehydrated, Commander, with advanced malnutrition and a compound fracture in your right leg. Can you treat her?" Captain Reyes asked. "Ardelian physiology isn't my specialty, but I've studied xenobiology. The principles are similar enough." He prepared an injection. "This will help with the pain while I treat your leg." As the medication entered her system, Nara felt the sharp edge of pain begin to dull. For the first time in 14 days, she allowed herself to relax slightly. "Captain," she said, her voice growing drowsy, "I must ask, why were you in this sector? It's restricted to human vessels under the Accords." Alina exchanged a glance with Dr. Kumar before answering. "Let's just say the Earth Alliance has a different interpretation of those accords, especially when it comes to exploration and rescue operations." Nara wanted to question further, but exhaustion was overwhelming her now that she was finally safe. As consciousness began to fade, she heard Captain Reyes speaking. "Dr. Kumar, I want full scans of that data, core she brought aboard. Something tells me there's more to this abandoned station than we're seeing. And alert tactical, I want long-range scans running continuously. If someone left her to die, they might not be happy about her rescue." Nara's last thought before darkness claimed her was that perhaps these humans weren't the primitives her people believed them to be. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge of the Horizon, studying the holographic display of Research Station Tellus. The engineer's report had been unequivocal. The damage was deliberate, targeted to disable without completely destroying the station. "Someone wanted her stranded, not dead immediately," First Officer Markuschin observed, standing at Alina's shoulder. "They expected life support to fail naturally. A slower death, but death nonetheless," Alina replied. "The question is why? What did Commander Cole and her team discover that was worth killing for?" "The data core might tell us," Marcus said. "Science Officer Park is analyzing it now, but she says the encryption is unlike anything she's seen before." Alina nodded thoughtfully. The Ardelian conclave was known for its technological sophistication and rigid hierarchical structure. They were one of the founding members of the Galactic Council, instrumental in creating the very accords that restricted humanity's expansion into space. "How's our guest?" she asked. "Dr. Kumar says she's stabilizing. Ardelians are resilient. Once she gets proper nutrition and hydration, she should recover quickly." The communications officer interrupted. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission. It's from an Ardelian military vessel." Alina straightened her uniform. On screen, the holographic display shifted to show an Ardelian officer, distinguished by the elaborate markings on his pale green face. Unlike Nara's scientific attire, he wore the rigid ceremonial armor of their military caste. "Earth vessel, this is Commander Zevran of the Ardelian Enforcement Division. You have illegally entered restricted space and interfered with a classified operation. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded." Alina stepped forward, keeping her expression neutral. "Commander Zevran, this is Captain Alina Reyes of the Earth Alliance vessel Horizon. We responded to a distress signal from Research Station Tellus in accordance with Universal Rescue Protocol Article 7, which supersedes territorial restrictions. The Ardelian's inner eyelids flickered in what Alina recognized as irritation. That station and all personnel aboard are Ardelian property. Your interference is a direct violation of Galactic Accords. We found a single survivor, Commander, Alina replied calmly. Commander Nara Cole was abandoned and would have died within days had we not responded. There was a brief silence before Zevran responded. Commander Cole was reported deceased along with all station personnel. Her survival is unexpected. I imagine it is, Alina said, her voice hardening slightly. She's currently receiving medical treatment aboard our vessel. You will transfer Commander Cole to our custody immediately. This is a matter of Ardelian internal security. Marcus leaned close to whisper in Alina's ear. We're detecting power buildup in their weapons systems. Alina nodded almost imperceptibly before addressing Zevran again. Commander Cole is in critical condition. Moving her now would endanger her life. Surely your concern is for your citizens' welfare. This is not a negotiation, Captain Reyes. You have violated our sovereign territory. If you do not comply immediately, we will take appropriate action. Alina's jaw tightened. Commander Zevran, I suggest we both take a moment to consider our options. Firing on an Earth Alliance vessel conducting a rescue operation would have serious diplomatic consequences. I'm transmitting our medical officer's report on Commander Cole's condition. Perhaps we can find a compromise that ensures her safe recovery. As the transmission cut off, Marcus turned to her. They're not here to rescue her, are they? No, Alina said grimly. They're here to make sure she never tells anyone what she found. Tactical, what's our situation? One Ardelian cruiser, approximately 3 times our size, the tactical officer reported. Their weapons outmatch ours significantly. We could make a run for it, but they're faster too. Alina studied the tactical display thoughtfully. Contact engineering. I want to know if that nebula at bearing 227 could mask our signature enough to slip away. As the bridge crew sprang into action, Alina couldn't help but wonder what secrets lay in the data core that Commander Cole had risked her life to preserve. Whatever they were, Alina had just placed her ship and crew squarely in the middle of something much bigger than a simple rescue mission. The clock was ticking. They had minutes, perhaps, before the Ardelian commander lost patience. But Alina Reyes had not built her reputation by abandoning those she'd sworn to protect, even if it meant defying one of the most powerful species in the galaxy. Unexpected allies. In the medical bay of the horizon, Commander Nara Cole awoke with a start. The steady hum of human medical equipment surrounded her, so different from the crystalline resonance of Ardelian technology. Dr. Kumar moved quickly to her side. Easy, Commander, he said, his voice calm. Your body is still recovering. Nara's copper-flecked eyes darted around the room. How long was I unconscious? About 3 hours. Your physiology responded well to treatment. He helped her sit up slowly. Your leg fracture has been stabilized, though you'll need to limit weight bearing for a few days. The door slid open, revealing Captain Reyes. The human's expression was grim. We have a situation, Commander Cole, Alina said without preamble. An Ardelian military vessel is demanding we turn you over to them immediately. Nara's inner eyelids flickered rapidly, fear, in Ardelian body language. Commander Zevran? Alina's eyebrows raised slightly. You know him. By reputation. He serves the Conclave Security Directorate. He's ruthless and completely loyal to the High Council. Nara's 6 fingers curled into a tight fist. If he's here, then my suspicions are confirmed. They want to silence me. About that, Alina said, pulling up a chair beside the bed. We've been trying to decrypt your data core. My science officer says it contains astronomical readings unlike anything she's seen before. Nara hesitated, weighing her options. These humans had saved her life when her own people had abandoned her. Yet sharing what she knew violated every security protocol of the Conclave. It's evidence of deliberate scientific suppression, she finally said. My team discovered energy signatures in the Varitian Nebula that contradict established physics. At least, the physics that the Conclave permits to be taught. Alina frowned. I don't understand. The Galactic Council, and particularly the Ardelian Conclave, has maintained technological dominance for millennia by controlling which scientific principles are discovered and when, Nara explained. What we found suggests that faster-than-light travel could be achieved at 1/10 the current energy cost. It would make interstellar travel accessible to species currently restricted to their own systems. Species like yours, Captain. Before Alina could respond, the ship's communication system activated. Captain to the bridge, urgently. The Ardelian vessel is charging weapons. Alina stood immediately. Secure Commander Cole here. No one enters without my authorization. As she turned to leave, she paused. Commander, we'll need access to that data if we're going to understand what we're dealing with. Nara nodded slowly. The encryption key is a genetic lock. I'll provide what you need. On the bridge, the tension was palpable. Marcus stood at tactical, his expression tense. They've given us 3 minutes to comply before they open fire. Alina settled into the captain's chair. Options. The nebula at bearing 227 might provide cover, the navigation officer suggested, but we have to get past them first, and they're positioned to block our path. What about the station? Alina asked. Could we use it as cover for an initial burn? Marcus nodded thoughtfully. Risky, but it might work. If we stay in the station's sensor shadow, we could get a head start before they realize we're running. Prepare the engines for maximum burn, Alina ordered, and ready countermeasures. We'll only get one shot at this. As the crew prepared for evasive action, Science Officer Park rushed onto the bridge. Captain, I've analyzed the preliminary data from Commander Cole's core. The energy readings are incredible, like nothing in our databases. Can it help us now? Alina asked, her eyes on the countdown timer. Maybe. Park worked rapidly at her console. If these readings are correct, the nebula has properties that could completely mask our engine signature, better than we initially thought. 60 seconds to deadline, Marcus reported. Alina made her decision. Helm, plot a course through the densest part of the nebula. Engineering, prepare to vent plasma on my mark to confuse their sensors. Tactical, all power to shields when we make our run. Captain, the communications officer interrupted. Commander Cole is requesting access to the bridge. Alina hesitated only briefly. Granted. Moments later, Nara entered, leaning on a makeshift crutch. Her eyes went immediately to the tactical display showing the Ardelian vessel. That's a suppressor-class cruiser, she said. Their ventral sensors have a blind spot at the lower aft quadrant, a design flaw they've never fully corrected. Alina glanced at her sharply. You're certain? I designed components for those ships before joining the science division, Nara confirmed. If you time your plasma vent precisely as you pass that quadrant, you'll have approximately 12 seconds before their secondary systems compensate. 30 seconds to deadline, Marcus warned. Alina nodded decisively. Updating tactical plan. All crew, secure for emergency maneuvers. She turned to Nara. I hope you're right about this. So do I, Captain. Nara gripped the support rail as the ship's engines began to surge. The moment the deadline expired, the horizon burst from behind the research station, accelerating at maximum thrust. As they passed beneath the Ardelian cruiser, Alina gave the command. Then plasma now. A massive cloud of superheated plasma erupted from the horizon's engines, engulfing the cruiser's lower hull. For precious seconds, the larger vessel's sensors were blinded. They're firing. Marcus called out as energy beams lanced through space, but the horizon was already changing course, diving toward the nebula. Shields holding at 70%, Tactical reported as a glancing blow rocked the ship. They're pursuing, Marcus said grimly, and they're faster. We don't need to outrun them for long, Alina replied, her eyes fixed on the approaching nebula. Just long enough. The horizon plunged into the swirling gases of the Veritian Nebula, the view screen filling with colors no human artist could have imagined. Almost immediately, the sensors began to fluctuate. I'm losing them, Tactical reported. The nebula's properties are interfering with our targeting systems. It works both ways, Alina said. Cut main engines and switch to maneuvering thrusters only. Minimal energy signatures. The ship glided deeper into the nebula, systems powering down to avoid detection. Nara moved to the science station, examining the readings with growing excitement. These energy patterns, they're exactly what my team recorded, she whispered. The nebula contains elements that can be stimulated to create spatial distortions. Alina joined her, studying the data. You're talking about some kind of alternative FTL technology? Not alternative, fundamental, Nara corrected. The principles my team discovered suggest that the current approach to faster-than-light travel is deliberately inefficient, designed to restrict access to species without vast energy resources. Before Alina could respond, The tactical officer spoke urgently. Captain, the Ardelian vessel has entered the nebula. They're sweeping with wideband sensors. Maintain silent running, Alina ordered. For tense minutes, the horizon drifted through the colorful gases while the Ardelian cruiser searched methodically. Then Science Officer Park made a startling discovery. Captain, these energy readings, they're responding to our presence. It's almost as if the nebula is reacting to us. Nara's eyes widened. That's it. My team theorized that consciousness itself might interact with these energy patterns. What if we could intentionally shape them? A plan began to form in Alina's mind, audacious and possibly suicidal, but their options were limited. Can we manipulate these energy patterns to create a distraction? Something that would read as a ship on their sensors? Theoretically, yes, Nara said, her fingers moving rapidly over the console. If we calibrate our sensor array to emit specific frequencies, we might be able to create a false echo, a ghost ship. Do it, Alina ordered, and prepare for a short FTL jump the moment they're distracted. Just enough to get us clear of the nebula. As Nara and Park worked feverishly on the calculations, Marcus approached Alina. Captain, if this works, where do we go? Earth Alliance territory is 2 weeks away at maximum speed. Alina considered their options. There's an independent trading post at Proxima Station, not officially affiliated with either the Earth Alliance or the Conclave. We might find sanctuary there while we figure out our next move. And if we don't? Marcus asked quietly. Then we've just sparked an interstellar incident, Alina admitted. But I'm not handing over a scientist to be silenced for political convenience. The plan came together quickly. Using the nebula's unique properties, they created a false energy signature that mimicked the horizon, sending it in the opposite direction from their planned escape route. The cruiser is changing course, Tactical reported excitedly. They're pursuing the false signature. Now, Alina commanded, execute jump. The Horizon's engines surged as they initiated a short-range FTL jump, momentarily tearing the fabric of space before reappearing beyond the nebula's edge. Without pausing, Alina ordered maximum speed toward Proxima Station. In the hours that followed, as they put distance between themselves and the nebula, Nara worked with the science team to decrypt more of her data core. What they found confirmed her worst fears and offered an unexpected hope. The Conclave has been suppressing technologies that would allow younger species to advance too quickly, she explained during a briefing with Alina's senior staff. They've manipulated the Galactic Accords for centuries to maintain their dominance. But why reveal this now? Dr. Kumar asked. You must have known the risks. Nara's expression was solemn. Because the data also shows that my people weren't always like this. The earliest records in our archives speak of cooperation between species, of shared advancement. Somewhere along the way, fear replaced curiosity. I believe it's time for that to change. Alina studied the Ardelian scientist thoughtfully. What you're proposing is revolutionary and dangerous. The Conclave won't simply stand aside and allow their technological monopoly to be challenged. No, Nara agreed. But they're not the only power in the galaxy. There are factions within my own government who question our isolation, and other species who would benefit from what we've discovered. She hesitated. Including humans. Alina smiled slightly. Are you suggesting an alliance, Commander Cole? I'm suggesting a beginning, Nara replied. My people have much to offer yours, and perhaps more importantly, you have much to remind us of what we once were. As the horizon continued toward Proxima Station, Alina knew they had crossed a line from which there could be no return. The evidence in Nara's data core would send shockwaves through the galactic community if released. The comfortable hierarchies maintained for millennia would be challenged. Change, often painful and always unpredictable, would follow. But Alina had not joined the Earth Alliance exploratory fleet to maintain the status quo. Humanity had always pushed boundaries, questioned limits, and reached beyond what seemed possible. It was their greatest strength and, according to some, their greatest flaw. Set course for Proxima Station, she ordered, and prepare a secure transmission to Earth Alliance headquarters. They need to know what we found and what's coming. As the stars streaked past the viewports, Alina caught Nara watching her with those copper-flecked eyes. The Ardelian scientist had risked everything for a truth her people had buried. Now, an unlikely partnership between their species might reshape the future of galactic exploration. In my culture, Nara said quietly, we have a saying, the stars do not judge who gazes upon them. Perhaps it's time all species had an equal chance to reach them. On Earth, Alina replied, we say something simpler. No one gets left behind. Nara's inner eyelids flickered in what Alina now recognized as a gesture of respect. A principle worth crossing the galaxy to find. The horizon surged forward, carrying its mixed crew of humans and a single Ardelian scientist toward an uncertain future. Behind them, the Varisian Nebula continued its ancient dance, its secrets no longer hidden but ready to change the course of galactic history, one curious species at a time. 3 days later, as the horizon approached Proxima Station, their sensors detected multiple ships converging on their position. Alina tensed, expecting Ardelian vessels, but the identification signals told a different story. Earth Alliance ships, an entire diplomatic flotilla led by the flagship Covenant. They received our transmission, Marcus said, relief evident in his voice. And responded faster than I expected, Alina added. The communication system activated, displaying the weathered face of Admiral Zhang, the Earth Alliance's chief diplomat for interspecies relations. Captain Reyes, she greeted them. It seems you've been busy rewriting galactic politics. We've reviewed the data you transmitted. The implications are significant. Admiral, Alina acknowledged. We have Commander Nara Cole aboard, the scientist who discovered this information. She's seeking asylum. The Admiral's expression remained impassive, but Alina detected a hint of approval. The Ardelian Conclave has filed formal protests, demanding her return and the destruction of all data recovered. Meanwhile, 3 other Council species have privately reached out, expressing interest in what we found. The Admiral allowed herself a small smile. You've created quite the diplomatic situation. Not my intention, Admiral. Perhaps not, but sometimes the most important discoveries come from unexpected places. Zhang leaned forward. Bring your ship and your guests to the Covenant. We have representatives from the Tellarite Union and the Vega Collective waiting to meet Commander Cole. It seems there are more species than we realized who are interested in rebalancing the technological playing field. As the transmission ended, Alina turned to find Nara standing in the doorway of the bridge, her eyes wide with wonder. I never imagined, the Ardelian began. That's humanity's specialty, Alina said with a smile. Doing the unexpected. Together, they watched as the Earth Alliance flotilla surrounded the horizon in a protective formation. What had begun as a simple rescue mission had evolved into the first step toward a new balance of power in the galaxy. Abandoned in the silent void of space, Nara Cole had expected to die alone. Instead, she had found unexpected allies who refused to leave anyone behind, even an alien from a civilization that had long looked down upon them. Sometimes the most profound changes began with the simplest acts of compassion, and sometimes the silence of space was broken by those bold enough to speak when others would not.